Hello and welcome to yet another episode of History Time. Let me begin with a few questions. Who is considered to be the father of Tamil theatre? Who wrote the script for the Tamil hits like Thukku Thukki and Manohara? Who was the man who ensured that the gopuram for the Kapaliswarar Temple was built? And when Kamal Haasan made his film Pammal Sambanda, to whom was he paying a tribute by way of the title? There is just one answer for all of this. It was Pammal Sambanda Mudaliar, the father of Tamil theatre. Sambanda Mudaliar was born in 1873 on February 1st to a very well-to-do and cultured family of Georgetown. His father was in government service as an inspector of schools in the education department. Sambanda Mudaliar studied at the Araneri Govindu Nayakar School on NSC Bose Road, then studied at the P.T. Lee Chengalvaraya Nayakar School, then studied at the Pachayappa's College, and then obtained his BA from the Presidency College. He qualified in law and enrolled as a lawyer in the High Court of Madras. That was his career. But we remember him today essentially for his contribution to the world of culture. In the closing years of the 19th century, Tamil theatre was going through a very bad phase. The so-called elite of Tamil Nadu looked down upon the art form. Today, we say that music, dance and theatre are the three integral parts of Tamil. But in those days, Tamil theatre was not looked up to at all. It was considered to be the field in which entertainers of a very low category found employment. Dialogues were bad, very often impromptu. Behavior on stage was very bad as well. And it was not considered to be an art form to which educated people would go. Pammal Sambanda Mudaliar, who was then a student of the Madras University, also felt the same way. In 1891, a friend of his said that there was a Telugu play being staged at the Victoria Public Hall, and he wanted him to accompany him. Sambanda Mudaliar went rather reluctantly. The play was being put up by the Bellari Sarasa Vinodini Sabha, and he sat through it. But as the play progressed, he was mesmerized. He was very impressed with the way the sets were changed between the scenes. He was astounded by the quality of acting and the level of the dialogues. Having come out of the play, he decided that a Tamil troupe ought to be formed in the same way. In order to establish that this was a troupe of a different kind, he ensured that all its members were graduates of the Madras University. They named the troupe the Suguna Vilasa Sabha. The first play was staged in 1891 itself in the month of July in Victoria Public Hall, and it was Pushpavalli, the script being written by Pammal Sambanda Mudaliar. In his reminiscences, Nadaka Medai Ninaivugal, which was serialized in the Swadesamitran newspaper and later brought out as a book, Sambanda Mudaliar gives us a detailed account of the theatre scenario of the closing years of the 19th century. He talks about how publicity was given for the play Pushpavalli. A retired sepoy from the army was hired, made to sit on a horse carriage and go beating a drum in all the streets of Georgetown. He was given 25,000 handbills. As and when a crowd collected, the handbills would be distributed, and they would have the information about the play, the timing of the staging, the price of the tickets, etc. On the day of the play's inaugural performance, a band was hired and was made to perform outside Victoria Public Hall from 4 in the evening till 9:30 at night. Tickets were sold, and then the play began at 9:30, and it continued till 3:30 the next morning. The play lasted 6 hours. But then that was the duration of a standard Tamil play in those days. The play was very successfully received, and from then on, the Suguna Vilasa Sabha began to stage further plays in the Victoria Public Hall itself. Over the years, they made several innovations. One was that the play itself could have a tragic ending. Till then, Tamil plays never had tragic endings. Even if the central characters died, there would be a final scene where it would be depicted that they met up in heaven, and then the audiences would go home happy. But Pammal Sambanda Mudaliar staged a play, Kalvar Talaivan, in which everyone died. The audience just refused to go home. They sat there expecting that there would be yet another scene when everybody would be shown reuniting in heaven. And an announcement had to be made saying that the play had come to an end. Similarly, Tamil plays of that era did not have an intermission, but Sambanda Mudaliar saw a Parsi drama where they utilized the intermission for moving the sets, and then he introduced 2 intervals in the Tamil play. This was met with a lot of protest. People said they couldn't imagine audiences coming back after an interval. But the ploy was successful. Intervals then came to stay. Gradually, the Suguna Vilasa Sabha also reduced the duration of Tamil theatre. They brought it down from 6 hours to 3 hours. Thereafter, that became the standard duration of Tamil drama. Much later, when cinema would come, they would adopt the same duration. Finally, Suguna Vilasa Sabha gave up night shows and began staging evening shows that enabled theatre goers to go to office refreshed in the morning. And that became the norm for cinema as well. One more thing, the entire troupe comprised only men. Women's roles were all essayed by men. This is how Suguna Vilasa Sabha became a great success. All its plays were super hits. Pammal Sambanda Mudaliar wrote 96 plays for the Suguna Vilasa Sabha. In the process, he also took on several plays of Shakespeare, translated them into Tamil, and gave them very interesting titles. Hamlet became Amaladityan, Macbeth Magapati, Cymbeline Sarasangi, The Merchant of Venice Vani Puravanigan, Romeo and Juliet Jwalita Ramanan, As You Like It Virumbiya Vidame, and so on. All the plays were very successful. The government of Madras realized that this was a good method for collecting donations as and when social causes needed them. So if there was an earthquake, the Suguna Vilasa Sabha would be asked to stage a play and money would be collected. Similarly, if a viceroy was coming or a governor was departing, a play would be staged, either in welcome or in farewell. During the First World War, when the hospital ship HMS Madras was constructed and then floated to take care of soldiers injured in Europe, the funding came in part from a play staged by the Suguna Vilasa Sabha. Gradually, this became one of the leading social organizations of Madras. In 1 year, they added as many as 360 members. And it became a problem. If all the members came, there was no space inside Victoria Public Hall to seat them. Finally, some plays had to be staged in the open grounds around the building. Eventually, it even came to be said that if you became a member of the Suguna Vilasa Sabha, you would wind up as a judge of the High Court of Madras, because all the leading lawyers of the city were members of the Suguna Vilasa Sabha, and they acted in its plays as well. Pammal Sambanda Mudaliar himself became a judge of the Small Causes Court in 1924-1925 and served in that capacity for 5 years. The Suguna Vilasa Sabha kept trying for a property of its own, and finally land was allocated in 1925 in one corner of the Lord Napier's Park near Chindadripet. A foundation stone was laid, but within 2 weeks the stone was back inside Victoria Public Hall. The site was not considered suitable. Eventually, in 1935, when the Justice Party, which had fallen on bad days, decided to sell its headquarters on Mount Road next to the Cosmopolitan Club, the Suguna Vilasa Sabha purchased the property. It desired to build a theatre there where it would stage plays. But by then, cinema had taken hold of the public imagination. Theatre could not afford to build a home for itself. The place was leased out, and the Plaza Theatre came to be constructed on it. Several years later, Plaza was demolished, and the Suguna Vilasa Sabha once again took possession of the land. It is today only a social club and does not stage any plays. Sambanda Mudaliar himself became a great celebrity. But I forgot to tell you how he came to build the tower of the Kapaliswarar Temple. The Pammal family had been hereditary trustees of the temple for several generations. And in 1900-1901, when Sambanda Mudaliar's elder brother resigned his post to take up a government office, Sambanda Mudaliar became the hereditary trustee. He greatly desired to build the tower, and in this he was assisted by two Chettiars from Triplicane, whose names he completely forgot in his 80s when he wrote his life story. He just remembered them as Gopuram Chettiars. They helped him, and the tower came up in 1910-1911. Similarly, he also worked very hard to ensure that the steps of the Kapaliswarar tank were repaired. A sannyasi came and gave him 5,000 rupees as the seed money for the project, but the total estimate came to 100,000 rupees. In order to collect donations, Sambanda Mudaliar announced that anybody who gave 108 rupees would have their name inscribed on the steps of the temple tank. That proved to be a great success. Money came in and the task was completed. Even today, when you walk around the Kapaliswarar Temple tank, you will find the names of the donors carved over there. Sambanda Mudaliar stepped down as a trustee of the temple when he became a judge of the Small Causes Court. He wrote scripts for cinema, and he was a very well-known personality in his lifetime. And he lived to a ripe old age, dying at the age of 91 in 1964. Prior to that, for his services to Tamil theatre, the Government of India awarded him the Padma Bhushan in 1959. Pammal Sambanda Mudaliar deserves commemoration. Several years later, I was one day walking around browsing in a second-hand bookshop when the script of a Tamil play was given to me by the shopkeeper. I opened the first page and I found what I thought was a childlike scrawl, very badly written Tamil. It said that the person who had written it had received a payment of rupees 25 or something like that for permission for staging the play. And when I looked down below, I was stunned to see that the signature was that of Pammal Sambanda Mudaliar. I was stunned. Could the father of Tamil theatre have really had such a poor handwriting? I wondered. And then I asked the social historian Randor Guy, and he said that this handwriting was when Pammal Sambanda Mudaliar was well into his 80s and was almost completely blind. And therefore, he couldn't have really read what he wrote, and that is why the handwriting was so poor. But his handwriting in reality was truly beautiful. That script, together with that covering note, I handed over to the Roja Muttaya Research Library, where it still is. In his 150th year, Sambanda Mudaliar really deserves to be remembered and celebrated. Had it not been for him, we would not have much in Tamil theatre and even in cinema and in culture. Above all, we wouldn't have a gopuram for the Kapaliswarar Temple. Our salutations to this great man. See you again next week. Bye for now.